Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Taha Institute of Science and Engineering. I am well and hoping that you are also enjoying a happy life with your family and friends. Now friends, we are going to start the lecture of the day, that is the ninth lecture of the fundamentals of chemistry. We will going to cover the topics of how to write a chemical formula and significance of chemical formula. Now let's start the topic of the day, that is how to write a chemical formula. As we know that the elements are represented by symbols, and in the same way compounds are represented by chemical formula. The chemical formula of a compound are written keeping the five steps we have to be in our minds to write the chemical formula. That is, the number one point is symbols of two elements are written side by side in order of positive ion first and negative ion later. For example, we have sodium and chlorine. We have sodium, that is the positive ion, and chlorine, that is negative ion. So we have to first put sodium Na and then put the chlorine symbol for chlorine, that is Cl. So this is the first point, and the second point is the valency of each ion is written on the right top corner of its symbol. For example, in case of sodium, that is the valency is +1, and it is the valency that is written on its top right corner, that is +1. And in the case of chlorine, 1 negative. So here is at the top right corner of the chlorine symbol, -1. So calcium, for calcium, Ca2 positive. 2 positive is the valency of for the calcium, that is written on the top right corner of the calcium, on the top right, at the top right corner of the calcium symbol. And in the same way, in case of oxygen, that is 2 negative is the valency of oxygen, that is written at the top right corner of the symbol of oxygen. And the third point is the valency of each ion is brought to the lower right corner of other ions by cross exchanging methods. Again listen, valency of each ion is brought to the lower right corner of other ions by cross exchange method. Let's see how. For example, we have sodium and chlorine, Na positive and Cl negative. As from the first step we know that the positive ion is first and negative ion is later. So sodium is positive, so it is written first, and chlorine is negative, it is written later. And in the same case we have calcium and chlorine. Calcium having positive valency, so first, and the chlorine having negative valency is written secondly. And in the same way, calcium and oxygen case, and calcium having positive valency, so written first, and oxygen with negative valency written later. And now we have to cross exchanging the valencies to the lower right corner of other ions. For example, we have sodium Na positive, that is having valency 1. It must be cross exchange to the lower right corner of the chlorine, and the chlorine having valency, that is -1. So 1 must have to be cross exchanged to the lower right corner of the sodium. And in the same way we get the NaCl. We get the NaCl +1, 1, 1. And Ca2 in the case of calcium and chlorine, Ca2 positive and Cl negative. We have to write down the two, that is the valency of calcium. It must be, it should be cross exchanged to the lower right corner of the chlorine. So it CaCl2, and in the same way the valency of chlorine, that is one negative, one must be at the lower right corner of the calcium by cross exchanging method, and that formed CaCl2. And in the same way for the calcium and oxygen case, we have to cross exchange the valency of calcium, that is 2 positive, at the lower right corner of the oxygen, and the valency of oxygen, that is 2 negative, negative should be cross exchanged at the lower right corner of the calcium, so we get calcium oxide. The fourth point is, if the valencies are same, they are offset and are not written in chemical formula. Again listen, if the valencies are same, they are offset or equal and are not written in the chemical formula, but they are different. But if they are different, they are indicated as such at the same position. For example, in case of chloride, in case of sodium chloride, both the valencies are offset and the formula is written as NaCl, both having the valencies 1 1. So it should not be written with the formula because of offset. And whereas in the case of calcium chloride, that is having formula calcium CaCl2, as the valencies of calcium and chlorine are not same, but they are different, so it should be written as it is. Fifth and the last point to write the chemical formula is, if an ion is combination of 2 or more atoms, which is called radical, bearing the net charge. It is the definition of a radical, a group of atoms having or bearing a net charge on it, known as the radicals. And in case of radicals, how we have to write a chemical formula? For example, sulfate, SO4 2 negative. 2 negative is the valency of the radical sulfate, and the PO4 or phosphate having the valency of 3 negative. Then the net charge represent the valency of the radical. The chemical formula of such compounds is written as explained in number point 1, 2, and 3 and 4, but only with the change, that is always writing the negative radical within the parentheses. For example, chemical formula of aluminum sulfate is written as Al2SO4 thrice, as we know that aluminum having the valency 3 and the sulfate having the valency 2. So it should be cross exchanged the values of valencies, so we get Al2SO4 thrice in the way that the negative radical should be within the parentheses. And in the same case with the calcium phosphate, as we know the valency of calcium is 2 and the phosphate with 3 negative, so negative radical must be within the parentheses, and hence we get the formula by cross exchanging the valency. By cross exchanging the valency numbers, we get the Ca3PO4 to now. And now the importance or significance of chemical formula. There are 5 significance of chemical formulas. Number first, it tells us the name of the elements present in the compound. For example, water. The chemical formula tells us about the elements of the water, that is hydrogen and the oxygen, and it also represents the name of the substance. For example, we know the formula of water is H2O. And number 3 point, that is the chemical formula indicates the mass of the compound in AMU or grams, and the chemical formula is in fact one molecule or formula unit of the compound. In case of covalent compound, it is a molecule. Otherwise, in case of ionic compound, the chemical formula is a formula unit for the compound. And the last point of the significance of chemical formula is chemical formula represents 1 mole of the molecules in a balanced chemical equation. Now, types of chemical formula. There are 2 types of chemical formulas. One is empirical formula and the other is molecular formula, and we'll read empirical formula and molecular formula in the next lecture. So stay with us and keep watching our videos for more knowledge. Kindly like, share our videos, and do not forget to subscribe the channel. If you like our work, please press the bell icon button. May Allah bless you. Thank you for